Coming up on the Rockbridge Report. The latest on a shooting in a California school happening earlier today.
And then we recap day one of the public impeachment hearings and who will testify next.
And then the opioid epidemic is sweeping Rockbridge County. Elizabeth Bell will give us the surprising numbers.
And then a look at our local weather as temperatures begin to drop this week. All that and more next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm James Laverty.
And I am Avalon Purnell.
2 people have been killed and several are injured after a shooting at a Southern California high school this morning. Authorities say the gunman is in grave condition after shooting himself in the head. Authorities say that the student gunman shot 5 students and then himself around 7:30 in the morning in a school quad in Santa Clarita High School. Los Angeles County Sheriff Alex Villanueva says a 14-year-old boy died at a hospital, and then earlier, a 16-year-old girl died from the shooting at the high school. The 3 surviving victims remain hospitalized. And breaking earlier today in Roanoke, authorities have closed all the city schools for the day and warned people to lock their doors. This comes after spotting a vehicle linked to an ex-Marine who is wanted for questioning in a murder case. The Roanoke police chief said at a news conference this morning that officers got a call about a suspicious person near Patrick Henry High School. The chief said a recreational vehicle Michael Alexander Brown had been driving was found nearby. The police chief said Brown is considered armed and dangerous. He may be looking for another mode of transportation or could be walking around in the area. Brown is wanted for questioning in the death of his mother's boyfriend, 54-year-old Rodney Brown.
For the first time in 2 decades, an impeachment inquiry into a president is documented by public hearings. Yesterday, 2 career diplomats gave televised testimony into President Trump's dealings with Ukraine. Mary Maloney is in Washington with the highlights.
Dramatic testimony about alleged corruption moved the impeachment inquiry into President Trump beyond the shadows of closed-door hearings and into the public eye.
I discovered a weird combination of encouraging, confusing, and ultimately alarming circumstances.
Bill Taylor, the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine, told Congress President Trump leveraged key aid and a White House visit for Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden and his son.
I think it's crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign.
After President Trump and the president of Ukraine spoke in July, Taylor said President Trump had a conversation with the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland. Taylor testified one of his aides asked Sondland what the president thought of Ukraine.
Ambassador Sondland responded that President Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden.
Democrats want to prove President Trump abused the power of his office.
The questions presented by this impeachment inquiry are whether President Trump sought to exploit that ally's vulnerability and invite Ukraine's interference in our elections.
Republicans describe the allegations as hearsay. They argue since Ukraine didn't launch investigations and eventually received funding, the administration did nothing wrong.
I think this is a sad chapter for the country, but frankly, a good day for the facts and a good day for the President of the United States.
While the president blames Democrats for playing politics.
There was no quid pro quo. Pure and simple.
I'm Mary Maloney.
Ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch, will testify tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. A new city manager is on the job today in Lexington. James Hallis is a Michigan native who was formerly employed as Halifax County's administrator. Emma Coleman has more on Hallis and his journey to Lexington.
Lexington City Council has hired Jim Hallis as city manager after a nearly 7-month national search. Hallis was born and raised in southern Michigan. He last served for 6 years as Halifax County's administrator, and he previously worked for 12 years as Stanton's assistant city manager. The city manager position opened last spring when former city manager Noah Simon left town. Interim city manager Brenda Garton held the seat until last Friday when Hallis began work, only hours after the city council voted to hire him. As city manager, Hallis will oversee all city employees and manage everything from pothole complaints to the city budget. Lexington Mayor Frank Friedman said Hallis has a lot of municipal governance experience that sets him apart from his predecessors.
Jim's greatest attribute will be his ability to build rapport and work to build community. He talked a lot about that in his interview of his efforts in Halifax, some of it not so successful, but planted a lot of seeds to bring people together to work for a common goal.
But Hallis's experience doesn't make him immune to backlash. In 2015, Halifax County Board of Supervisors members complained about his management techniques. One supervisor reported micromanagement, discriminatory remarks, and insubordinate behavior. In a newsmaker interview with the Rockbridge Report, Hallis admitted his management techniques can be rigorous.
I expect people to responsibly do their jobs. The people that work for me, that's my responsibility to make sure that they're serving the community in an appropriate fashion.
The city manager works closely with City Council to establish policies and ordinances. Councilmember Charles Chuck Smith said he is looking forward to getting to know Hallis better, and he will have a lot to do in the new year.
One of Jim's main responsibilities is going to be to hire a new finance director, because our current one, Gary Swink, has been an incredible asset to the city. He's extended his retirement from November into January, so he'll get to share a lot of information with Jim.
Hallis said he and his wife Deb are eager to get to know their way around the city.
I've been already trying to find a place to run in the morning. I try to get out and run every other morning to stay healthy and stay active. And again, my wife and I both want to be active and involved personally in the community.
Emma Coleman, Lexington, Virginia, for the Rockbridge Report.
To view Emma's complete conversation with Hallis, stay tuned after this newscast for an exclusive broadcast of the Newsmaker interview, or visit rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Fiber optic internet is coming to Goshen. The Appalachian Regional Commission awarded a $1 million grant to BARC Electric. The funds will be used toward fiber construction costs in Rockbridge County and around the town of Goshen. The project will take a year to complete and could have a large impact on the future of businesses in the area.
Nationally, the prescription rate for opioids is declining, but not in Lexington. The rate here is 4 times higher than the national average. Elizabeth Bell is crunching the numbers.
The opioid epidemic is still plaguing the nation, despite recent progress. In Southwest Virginia, opioids are being prescribed at a high rate. The Centers for Disease Control collects data on opioid prescriptions by community. And based on that data, Lexington has the 11th highest opioid prescription rate in the country. Lexington is one of 6 cities in the region that rank in the top 50 in the country for opioid prescription rates. Kirk Luter, the medical director at Rockbridge Area Community Services, has seen the horrific impact of the opioid epidemic in the Rockbridge area.
The opioid crisis has been a huge public health emergency over the last several years, and over the last at least 3 years, deaths from opiate overdose have been the #1 leading cause of death for young adults aged 15 to 24.
Doctors prescribe opioids to manage pain after a major injury or surgery, but they're highly addictive. It's unclear why there is such a high concentration of opioids prescribed in the Rockbridge area. Dr. Laura Cornegie, the health director for the Central Shenandoah Health District, says that since Lexington is an independent city surrounded by a large county, it has a larger concentration of pharmacies.
That's what they're tracking is the number of prescriptions and where they're filled, within Lexington City. So I think we need to, look at the data a little bit harder and probably look at it regionally.
Luter says Lexington is a medical hub, and some of its doctors prescribe medications to the rest of the county.
My experience with the local physicians is that they're being pretty careful about prescribing.
In Martinsville, Virginia, the opioid prescription rate is about 50% higher than it is in Lexington. Last month, a Martinsville doctor was sentenced to 40 years in prison for over 800 counts of illegally prescribing opioids. The opioid overdose death rate is lower in Lexington and Rockbridge County than in many other areas that also have a high opioid prescription rate.
I can count 3 patients that I know of that were all young adults who've died of opiate overdose just in the last 4 years.
Rockbridge County, Lexington, Roanoke, Covington, Salem, and Allegheny County have filed lawsuits against prescription opioid manufacturers and distributors, including Purdue Pharma, over the cost of the opioid epidemic. The Board of Supervisors unanimously authorized the county to file a similar lawsuit against Johnson & Johnson. Reporting from Lexington, I'm Elizabeth Bell with the Rockbridge Report.
4 unstaffed dumpster sites are set to close in Rockbridge County as part of the county's plan to migrate away from unmonitored collection centers. The Buffalo Creek location on U.S. Route 11 closed Wednesday, and the Rural Valley Road and the Bunker Hill Mill Road locations are set to close next week. The Timber Ridge Collection Center is set to close on December 3rd. The Fancy Hill Recycling and Trash Collection Center opened on Wednesday for county residents, but some are afraid closures could lead to more trash on the roads.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, time to bundle up. An Arctic blast is sweeping the country this week.
Winter weather has come to Lexington, and we're going to have a little bit of warmer temperatures tomorrow, but it's going to drop back down into the cold winter temperatures we've been having. Tune into weather to find out more.
And then we will go live to Haywoods, where a silent auction to help fund books for Rockbridge children is happening tonight.
An Arctic blast is blanketing much of the U.S. with teeth-chattering temperatures, and to the surprise of many, this winter-like weather has arrived earlier than usual. John Lawrence reports.
Millions of Americans are getting a preview of winter this week.
It's kind of surprising because, it's November. We ain't even had Thanksgiving yet.
Bitter cold conditions for nearly 3/4 of the U.S. Wednesday, with temperatures in some areas 20 to 40 degrees lower than usual for this time of year.
I was waiting for December. I expected it's early in November, but it's cool. They let you know we're going to have a good winter, so bundle up.
Chicago among the cities feeling this polar plunge in temps.
It's freezing from your feet to your head. Like, are you serious? Like, no matter how much thermal you got on, you still gonna get cold.
Wicked wintry conditions in parts of Michigan as well, where some residents were forced to put down their rakes for shovels.
We're hoping that the snow will probably melt so we get the leaves cleaned up, because we only have a certain amount of time to get the leaves out to the road.
Some make the most of the situation, like this Cleveland man who created a spiderweb design in the snow. But this unexpectedly cold weather is causing havoc for travel. Numerous accidents on the roadways, and FlightAware.com reports hundreds of flight delays and cancellations due to weather conditions. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The Great Lakes region has already received more than a foot of snow since Monday, and forecasters say more is likely on the way. Lexington has definitely seen some lower temperatures this past week. I mean, Lily, is there any chance that it's going to warm up?
Unfortunately, it is going to keep being chilly in Lexington. I know. We hate to see it. If we take a look at our live shot right now from downtown Lexington, we can see that it was a sunny afternoon, but we certainly are seeing winter roll into Virginia. Right now in Lexington, it is 44 degrees, and we started off at a low of 29 degrees this morning. So we are dipping down into those freezing temperatures. The wind speed is 3 miles per hour, so it was a mild afternoon, and the humidity is only 35%, so it is rather dry. If we take a look at our radar, we can see that there really isn't any precipitation in the area, and we're going to see that trend continue for the next couple days. Taking a look at our conditions for the area, we are all in about the mid-40s right now. The lowest temperature on the map is going to be 44 degrees, and the highest is 46. We're seeing some scattered clouds down in Lynchburg and over in Roanoke, but for the most part, it was a sunny afternoon in the region. Taking a look at our 5-day forecast, we are going to be seeing the temperatures rise a little bit tomorrow, but we're going to be seeing a chilly weekend to come. 56 degrees is the high for tomorrow, and then Saturday, we're dropping down in temperature. 45 degrees is the high for Saturday, and 48 is the high for Sunday. Monday, the sun's going to come back out. 52 degrees is the high with a low of 34 for both Monday and Tuesday. So we will be expecting a chilly weekend and a chilly week as we move in to the beginning of next week. That's all I have for the weather. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Lily, and hopefully we will have some warmer weather coming up.
Yes. Books & Co. is holding a silent auction tonight at Haywoods to raise money for its program, For the Love of Books. We go to Coleman Martinson to tell us more about this event.
Hey Avalon, I'm here on Main Street at Haywoods downtown, and Books & Company is hosting the fundraiser right now. For the Love of Books provides brand new books to children in the Rockbridge area for free. Now I spoke with Annalisa Fitzgerald last week and even today, and she said they're hoping to provide 1,500 books this year at a cost of around $30,000. Tonight, they're raffling off prizes every 15 minutes to help raise money for those books. Even Winnie the Pooh, and Eeyore are going to be here tonight as guest bartenders. Now, it's looking to be a great event, and it's already pretty crowded. The event is open from 7 to the public and will be open until 7. Reporting live in Rockbridge County and the city of Lexington, I'm Coleman Martinson.
Thank you, Coleman, and still to come on the Rockbridge Report. VMI football is having a historic year. Reporter Colin Whitmore is going to tackle this story.
And then Jack will give us the rundown on sports around the country.
And later, the community table in Rockbridge County is giving back to the community this holiday season. Liza Moore can tell you how to get more involved. And we are back with our sports reporter, Jack Douglas. And Jack, it looks like VMI could be entering a new era of football. Yes, that's right, James. Thank you. VMI football fans haven't had much to cheer about in recent years. The team won only one game last season, but this year's team is on the upswing and is on track for its best season in 17 years. The Rockbridge Report's Colin Whitmore talked with the coach and top players.
VMI's football team won only 4 total games in its past 3 seasons. However, this year's team has already notched 4 victories with 2 games remaining. Head coach Scott Wackenheim says his team's positive mentality has led to more success.
I think they understand if we work hard and continue to progress that winning football at VMI is possible and a SoCon championship is possible in the future.
VMI currently sits at 4-6 overall and 3-4 in Southern Conference play. The Keydets offense has been their stronghold this season. Quarterback Reese Udinsky ranks 11th in the football championship subdivision of Division I football for passing yards. He credits off-season work and improved team chemistry for the success.
I have better chemistry with my receivers. They know what I like to do. I know what they like to do. So, the offense as a whole has just been clicking.
Running back Alex Ramsey has been one of the best in Division I football this season. He currently leads the FCS with 22 touchdowns on the season and ranks 2nd in rushing yards with 1,210.
If I could finish out the most touchdowns, the most rushing yards, that's what I want to do, and that's what I strive to do.
VMI's offense currently averages 33.5 points per game. Ramsey says his running ability combined with Udinsky's passing makes the offense very difficult to stop.
You got to respect the run game, and you got to respect the pass game, so you got to pick your poison.
Ramsey and Udinsky get the most attention, but Wackenheim says the offensive line has been the X factor this season.
The biggest change in our team this year is by far the offensive line. Kyle Jolly's done an excellent job coaching our O-line. They're creating bigger holes.
This weekend, VMI travels to West Point for a matchup with Football Bowl subdivision opponent Army.
Obviously, we'll be the underdogs, but we just want to go improve on a national level to a big team that we can hang with those guys.
VMI closes out the season at home the following week. Wackenheim says a win would be huge for the program.
If we get to a 4th Southern Conference win, the Chattanooga win, that would be the first time in 40 years VMI had won 4 conference games, and that includes when it was in the Big South.
The Keydets game against FBS opponent Army will air at noon on CBS Sports Network this Saturday. The Keydets return home for their season finale on November 23rd against Southern Conference opponent Chattanooga. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Colin Whitmore.
If VMI wins one of its final 2 games, it would be their most victories in 17 years. If the Keydets manage to upset Army on Saturday, it would be their first victory against the Black Knights in 31 years. Washington and Lee and Southern Virginia University are also wrapping up their seasons this week. WNL will play at Shenandoah on Saturday, and SVU will take on Apprenticeship that same day at home. WNL men's soccer won their 2nd straight ODAC title on Saturday in a 1-0 victory over Lynchburg. They will host the first round and second rounds of the NCAA tournament on Saturday and Sunday. WNL first takes on North Carolina Wesleyan. An upset in college basketball. Evansville beat number 1 seeded Kentucky in a historic road win with a 67-64 victory. The Evansville Purple Aces will be taking on the Cougars of Indiana Kokomo tonight at home. Local football teams are beginning playoffs tomorrow. The Rockbridge County High School football team begins the tournament at home against Brookville, and Perry McClure's football team travels to take on George Wythe High School. Diving into Week 11 of the NFL, let's take a look at one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. The San Francisco 49ers currently have the best record in the NFC, sitting at 8-1 on the season. The team is coming off of a highly contested loss last Saturday against the Seattle Seahawks at home. Garoppolo went 24 for 46 for 248 yards, with 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 5 sacks, and 2 lost fumbles in a 27-24 overtime loss to Seattle on Monday night. Garoppolo had a career low with only 5.4 yards per attempt and had his lowest completion rate and 2nd lowest passer rating on the season. That performance comes after a near-perfect game the previous week against Arizona when he threw for 317 yards and 4 touchdowns with no turnovers and a 28-25 win for the 49ers. The team is set to play at home this Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. Kickoff is scheduled for 1:05 p.m. Pacific time. It should be a really interesting week for the 49ers. They've had a great season so far, obviously had a tough setback last week, but let's see if they can get back after it this week. Absolutely.
I definitely think that Jimmy G and the Niners have a bounce back week against the 3-6 Cardinals.
So, of course, speaking of football, Thanksgiving and football, Avalon has a Thanksgiving story for us.
Oh, yes, I do. The Rockbridge Community Table is mixing up its Thanksgiving meal this year with Devil's Backbone in the kitchen. 21 of the local brewing company's employees will be preparing and serving the meal. Liza Moore has the story.
But we were just so excited. We have had people that will write us a check, please buy the best foods you can and that kind of thing, but we've never had anyone that will actually provide the food and serve it for us.
Kathy Switcher was thrilled when Devil's Backbone Brewery offered to take over the Rockbridge Community Table's Thanksgiving dinner. Devil's Backbone hosted a Stuff the Turkey fundraising night to collect food and cash donations for this year's meal.
One of the most important things about Thanksgiving is, first of all, is giving thanks, but the other part is what we do for the community.
And we're doing mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, stuffing, cranberry sauce, all those good Thanksgiving foods. It's probably 6 keg tubs worth, so I'm not sure what that is in weight, but that's a lot of food.
Devil's Backbone will be getting the turkeys locally from Cattleman's Market and smoking them at Devil's Backbone Outpost. The Rockbridge Community Table has been serving family style since 2012. They currently serve meals every Monday evening and Wednesday afternoon.
We have 4 churches that provide our desserts every week. So your grandmother, your mother, your aunt and uncle, they're making these for and they bring them fresh every week.
The Community Table also partners with the Rockbridge Area Relief Association to provide fresh bread at their meals.
It brings a lot of people together. There have been a lot of friendships that have blossomed here and gone further than the table.
Most dinners serve 80 to 100 members of the community and require 40 volunteers. Diners may eat for no charge or pay what they are able. Every member of the community is encouraged to attend.
I'm here in front of the Rockbridge Community Table. Last year, 100 people attended the Community Table's Thanksgiving dinner, but they expect at least 200 this year. The volunteers are eager to step out of the kitchen.
They've all said, boy, that'll be great. I can actually sit down and let them serve us.
For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Liza Moore.
The Thanksgiving meal at the Rockbridge Community Table is being served on Monday, November 25th at 6 p.m. Devil's Backbone's signature brew, their 8-point IPA won't make it to the table, but their pumpkin pie sure will. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight. That's all we have.
Stay tuned for interviews with the new Lexington City Manager, Jim Hallis, and County Administrator, Spencer Suter, or you can look for them online by visiting rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. That's all we have for this evening. Have a wonderful evening, Lexington.